Welcome to another episode of the Keystone Chiropractic Blogcast. I'm Dr. Jonathan Chung, and today we're going to be answering one of the questions that we get from a lot of our patients is, what's the best way for me to sleep to prevent myself from injuring my neck and injuring my back? And this has been addressed in a lot of different circles. It's been talked about in various newspaper articles. You might have seen an infographic in places like the Wall Street Journal, the Huffington Post, and it'll break things down. And the typical company line, and this is even some of the recommendations we use in our office, is that you should sleep on your back or on your side, and that's the best way to reduce musculoskeletal pain. But the truth of the matter is there's not really much science to back those recommendations up. When we look at the peer-reviewed literature, we actually see that there aren't any really published studies that relate sleep position to incidence of musculoskeletal pain. When we look at the peer-reviewed literature, there's really only information that sleeping on your back is going to increase your odds of snoring, and it's going to increase your odds of having sleep apnea. So as far as injuring your back or neck, there's not really much data out there to support it. Now, there are some reasons that we do support sleeping on your back and your neck, is because it makes biomechanical sense. And it's one of the reasons that we recommend the Therapeutica cervical pillow, is because the pillow helps set you up, so it's going to help support the natural C-shaped curvature of your neck. And if you're going to sleep on your side, we measure the distance between your neck and your shoulders so that this gap matches up properly and it's not forcing your neck too far up or too far down, and it's providing you a nice neutral position. Now, is there any scientific literature to back that up? Not really. But here's one good thing that we started to see, and that's a recent study was published in the journal Neuroscience that showed that sleeping on your side actually increases the amount of cerebral spinal fluid that circulates through the brain. Now, why is that important? Because when you're sleeping, cerebral spinal fluid is what helps remove waste products from your brain. Waste products called amyloid beta and tau proteins are what build up in the brain, and cerebral spinal fluid acts like a plumbing system that helps clear it out. The reason that's important is because those two proteins, when they're hanging around in the brain, are associated with Alzheimer's and dementia. So we definitely want those things out of our system. So that's a good thing that we're starting to see in some animal studies, is that if an animal sleeps on their side, they have a much higher chance of removing a lot of those negative proteins from building up inside of the brain. So we haven't confirmed that in humans yet, but it's something to think about. And it also goes back to looking at what do animals and people do in their natural environment, and they tend to sleep on their side, and the second best position is sleeping on their back. Not too many people sleep on their stomach, but when people sleep on their stomach, or even animals sleep on their stomach, they actually have less cerebral spinal fluid flowing through their brain, and also more buildup of these potentially toxic proteins. So it's a little bit of something to chew on and a little bit of science to back it up. So next time that you're thinking about sleeping, get a good side sleeper position, get a good pillow to support the side sleeper position, or sleep on your back if you're not having any difficulties with snoring or sleep apnea. So this has been your Keystone Chiropractic Blogcast. We'll see you on our next episode.